Turkey launches military offensive against Syria after deadly Syrian attack. Turkey announced on March 1 that it would be launching a major offensive against the Syrian government. It was the first time the Turkish government openly declared war against the Syrian government, which is currently led by President Bashar al-Assad. Just 3 days before their announcement, 36 of Turkey's soldiers were killed and 30 were wounded because of Syrian and Russian air and artillery strikes. Those were reportedly Turkey's worst military losses in a single attack of the war. It was then that Turkey President Recep Tayyip Erdogan vowed that their country would retaliate against Syria. He also demanded that Syrian soldiers step back from a de-escalation boundary the two countries had previously agreed upon. The major offensive was announced by Turkey Defense Minister Hulusi Akar on TV. He explained that they mainly want to end the war and obtain peace and stability for their countries. Akar is asking Russia to take responsibility for attacks against the regime. President Erdogan is set to meet Russian President Vladimir V. Putin on March 5 in Moscow. But Moscow said the safety of Turkish aircraft in Syria is not certain. President al-Assad aims to retake Idlib province, Syria's last rebel-held territory. Their actions have led almost 1 million residents to seek refuge by heading towards Turkey's border. As such, a number of them live in tents if they are lucky, while others sleep without tents, vulnerable to the cold. Now, many of these refugee groups are traveling to the EU after Turkey declared that it failed to receive enough support to host the millions of Syrian refugees. Bulgaria and Greece, countries that border Turkey, are doing what they can to prevent migrants from crossing the border. Greek police have even been seen using tear gas on refugees. Turkey had stopped its 3.7 million Syrian refugees from leaving for Europe because of a deal the country had previously signed with the EU. Though the refugees are traveling to Greece, Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis said they will not tolerate any illegal entries through land or sea. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees states that refugees or people are forced to flee their country because of persecution, war, or violence. Refugees fear persecution for reasons such as religion, race, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a certain social group. Syria, Afghanistan, Myanmar, Somalia, and South Sudan account for 67% or 2/3 of the world's refugees. Internally, displaced persons are those who are forced to flee their home but find refuge in nearby settlements or forests, so they are still legally the responsibility of their government. Over 41.3 million people are internally displaced worldwide, with most of them coming from Colombia, Syria, Somalia, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The most important instrument in refugee law is the 1951 Geneva Convention, which says what kind of legal protection a refugee is entitled from countries who signed the document. However, it was written in response to European refugees after World War II. The 1967 protocol addresses the displacement that occurs globally.